Hey guys, LQ here with the LQ review. Uh, Here with another movie review. This is the movie review for the new Netflix movie Triple Frontier. Just came out last week. Finally got around to watching it. Got caught up on it, and it was a good experience. I'm glad that I watched it. But we're going to talk about the good. We're going to talk about the bad. We're going to give the rating. The rating will be one of three ratings. It'll be a happy face emoji, meaning I liked it. It'll be a sad face emoji, meaning I didn't like it. Or it will be a meh emoji, meaning it was okay. Basically, the story is about um, some former soldiers who decide that they want to score a big payday by robbing a drug lord in Central America. And they go on their heist, and there's some conflict, and there's a small skirmish that takes place. But overall, the heist is pretty successful. They end up taking away more money than they had planned on, which ends up being a mistake. And then the rest of the movie is about them trying to make their escape, not just from the drug lords, but trying to defeat the terrain, trying to defeat some other some other combatants that they come into contact with. Overall, there's a series of obstacles that they have to overcome that makes their escape much more difficult than it should have been. And really, the escape difficulty comes down to greed from one character, one specific character in general. His greed led to them having too much money, and having too much money actually led to some major problems for the group. So let's talk about the good. The good is the cast. The cast was fantastic. You know, Netflix continues to have casting coups where they have great actors sign up for their movies, and Triple Frontier is no exception. Great cast here. You got Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is kind of the lead, and it's his decisions that puts the team at risk. He's the one who gets greed eater in the heist and wants to take more, wants to take more, wants to take more. Ends up creating too much weight for their aircraft, and it puts them in all sorts of problems. Ben Affleck's character is very complex. I found his character to be very real. A family man, divorced, or maybe they're just separated, but definitely estranged with his wife, and he's still trying to reach his daughter, and they've got some financial issues, and he's having financial issues, and so that makes the allure of this huge payday all the more attractive. And when he gets put in the situation where he could have millions and millions and millions of dollars right at his fingertips, he makes some bad decisions. And as kind of the team leader, he ends up putting the whole team at risk due to his greed. Very complex character. I really enjoyed Ben Affleck's portrayal here. Then you've got Oscar Isaacs, who was kind of the point person at the beginning. He was the point person who was trying to put this whole heist together. He's the one who got the information from his informant. He's the one that learned that the house was the safe, and he's the one that kind of developed the early stages of the plan before turning it over to Ben Affleck. Oscar Isaacs was great in this. He was great. He's showing more and more that he can handle large roles. He can handle large, complex roles, and he can carry films. You know, I would put him with Ben Affleck as the co-lead of this movie for sure. He was fantastic. Then you've got Charlie Hunnam and Garrett Hedlund, a couple members of the team. Didn't really have many moments to shine individually, but they worked as part of a unit, and you could tell that these characters all deeply cared for each other. There was real affection there for each other, and that definitely showed through in their performances. Pedro Pascal is great. Another actor who's just going to get more and more opportunities. I loved Pedro Pascal in Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Loved him. I didn't really like that movie all that much, but his performance in Kingsman: The Golden Circle was great. Pedro Pascal is somebody who's definitely moving up in the world, and this was another good movie to put on his resume. and he had pretty significant screen time as well. The setup was a great part of this story. I really like the idea of this drug lord having this house, and the house being the safe, and the drug lord never leaving the house. But his family is on a routine that includes going to church, and kind of the whole idea of building the heist around a game plan where they have to have as little conflict as possible. The setup was great, and then the escape and the accidents that happen, and they end up in the mountains and trying to make their escape through the mountains on foot with all this cash. It was really good. The set pieces. So you've got the Central American set piece at the house, which was a lot of fun. That felt very claustrophobic. That felt, once the action happened, the battle scene happened, that was engaging. That was a great set piece, the house. And then the mountains and the village in the mountains. All of that was great. There was a shootout on the mountains that felt, even though it was wide open, that also felt kind of claustrophobic. They were kind of pinned down. So all that was really good stuff. The narrative, it wasn't an action movie like it was kind of billed as. It was more of a heist and escape movie. And the narrative was strong, but I had some problems with the lack of action. So let's talk about some of the stuff I didn't like. I just said it, the lack of action. This was kind of billed as an action movie, this big, exciting heist action movie, and I was shocked at how little gunplay and how little conflict there actually was. Much of the conflict was between each other, and and like I said, you could tell there was real affection there. So even when there was conflict between each other, they would always resolve it pretty quickly. So overall, the action was lacking, in my opinion. There was a kind of a heartbreaking moment on the mountain where I don't want to get into spoilers, but there's a heartbreaking moment on the mountain, and that was a really sad part of the movie. And there was a small action skirmish that went with that. The action skirmish in the house was okay, but they owned it. I mean, the characters were never in any real jeopardy at the house. They were putting down people left and right, and then it was over, and they were making their way out. So, other than when they were pinned down on the mountain, I never really felt like they were in any real mortal danger. And even after that scene, and they had to put the next piece of their plan in place to escape, I never really felt like they were in mortal danger because they were so much more skilled than anybody they were going up against. So, yeah, I just felt like other than the scene on the mountain, I didn't feel any real stakes. So I think that was a problem. Another problem I had was that these guys are professionals. They're best of the best. They made a ton of mistakes in this movie. A ton of mistakes. Mistakes that I don't think real professionals would make. Now, I understand that greed played a big part into them making some of these mistakes. I just still feel like somebody should have put the Ben Affleck character in place and said, hey, man, that's not the plan. I realize they tried to. I watched the movie. I realize that some of them tried to, but you're putting people's lives at risk. And I think that there should have been, if this was real, I think that there would have been a much greater pushback from his teammates to say that's not the plan. Let's stick with the plan. As a viewer, that bothered me. As a viewer, it bothered me that all this could have been avoided if they just stuck with the plan and executed and done what they were initially going to do. Overall, this was okay. This is an okay movie. You know, Netflix has a history of making okay movies. Roma, a lot of people thought Roma was great. I thought it was okay. That got a Best Picture nomination. So Netflix has this history of okay movies. Movies that you can get really hyped up for. Like, yes, I can't wait to see this. I remember Game Over Man. I was so hyped up to watch Game Over Man, and it ended up being okay. Kind of the same thing you heard Triple Frontier. I was really looking forward to it, and it was okay. So this is Emoji. This was an okay movie. I think you'll like it. I really do. I think you'll like it. For the most part, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of problems with it, with the narrative. It was very uneven in spots. But overall, some good performances. A neat little heist movie that I could tell was kind of made for television. That's probably the best way to put it. I could tell that this was a neat little heist movie with a great cast that was made for television. So that's my take on Triple Frontier. What did you think of Triple Frontier? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you for being here at the OQ Review, where we talk about all the nerdy and geeky stuff that we just love to talk about. Until next time, thanks.